Hello, this is Sally Taylor with the League of Women Voters of Portland, and you're watching the Video Voters Guide or listening to our podcast. We are here today to talk with candidates running in the May 16th, 2023 special district election. We are grateful for the support of the Carol and Velma Sailing Foundation, the League of Women Voters of Portland Education Fund, the WISE Foundation, and our media partner, Metro East Community Media. With me today is Patte Sullivan, who is running for Portland School District 1J, Zone 3. Welcome, Patte.
Thank you.
Please tell us, to begin with, please tell us a little bit about yourself and why you are running for this office.
Well, I taught for 20 years in Portland Public Schools, and after I retired, I supervised student teachers for Lewis and Clark College, and I also led student tours at the Art Museum. I've also raised 3 children, and I had heard there was a board opening, and I just thought maybe it's time for me to join the board as part of my education experience. I feel that my experience would help me support the vision that Portland Public Schools have. It's a great vision, but it's going to need implementation, and I'd like to be part of that.
Thank you. So how do you feel the district should address those students who've fallen behind academically during the pandemic?
Well, I think the students really need to be evaluated individually. We're going to have to get accurate data about where each child is, and that's going to mean time for the students to do the evaluation. It's going to mean classroom assistants coming in, because I'm sure there's a lot of work to be done. We know that many students are missing class. We have to find out why and get them there. You can't learn if you're not there. It's also important to make the classrooms really welcoming. And that's easier in the primary grades where you have everybody all day long. You can really have a lot of activities going that encourage social, emotional connections. But in the upper grades, I think we're going to have to get creative. I'm sure some already are. I was a lower grade teacher, so I can't speak for them. But to work, maybe have a small pod that meets every day of 20 or so students, so that you can have a social connection in a 7th through 12th grade where you're going to different classes all day long. So I think it's just very important to have training for the teachers in social emotional learning. This has always been important, but after COVID, it's even more so.
Thank you. What do you think the district can do to help mitigate challenges to homeless students so that those students can succeed?
Well, I think, first of all, we need to offer free breakfast and lunch. Can't learn if you're hungry. I think materials in the primary grades need to be shared throughout the classroom. In the upper grades, have a resource room where students can go to get the materials that they need. Maybe even, if possible, more than just school materials, maybe even clothing, and connection with counselors in finding housing for families. A lot of the problem with the homeless is we don't even know who they are because there's so much shame attached. So I think we need to work with our teachers so that they can become even more empathetic, more welcoming, that students will feel comfortable talking to them. And also we need to work with all of our students, become more empathetic, so they understand what's going on in the world and can be just more accepting of people who need the help that not all of us need. Another idea is, and I've seen this happen in Astoria, is to have a backpack program where either this district or volunteers put together backpacks with food that children can take home over the weekends when they don't have access to food at school.
Well, thank you. Moving on to the next question. As a liaison between the community and the superintendent, how will you solicit and weigh input from teachers, parents, staff, students, and the community?
Well, as is now, the board meetings would be open to everybody. They could send in questions, or they could just come and watch, either in person or online. I would encourage all of the above that you mentioned to submit questions. I know there's already a student liaison on the board. I think I would also make it available, make board members available to go to teacher meetings or PTSA meetings. Either, well, I think they should be invited, but if invited, to go and explain what they're doing and get input from other groups about what is important or that they feel the board is not addressing.
Thank you. So, from your viewpoint, what is the single most important issue to you in this election?
I think the single most important issue is educating our students in a system that values equality and excellence for everybody. And I want to see our resources put where they're needed most. And right now, I think, as I've already said, I think that area is meeting the social emotional needs of the students and probably also of the teachers. I think the teachers also need training in how to be the best addresser of those problems in the classroom. I mentioned before that students need to feel welcome and supported. And I think that's especially true for our BIPOC and our LGBTQ students. Our schools need to be safe places where there's no bullying. There's no way to learn if you're afraid. So I'm really, I guess the social emotional part of education has always been there. After COVID, it's even more. And I think COVID has made us recognize that we had a problem that's even bigger than we thought it was. So that's where we have to start.
Well, thank you. So you are listening to the Video Voters Guide interview and podcast of Patte Sullivan, who is running for Portland School District 1J Zone 3. Thank you, Patte, for joining us today. This concludes our Video Voters Guide and podcast interview of Patte Sullivan, running for Portland School District 1J Zone 3. Election Day is Tuesday, May 16th. Be sure to inform yourself about the candidates and exercise your right to vote. This is Sully Taylor for the League of Women Voters of Portland. Thank you for your interest.